What is up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new video. It's been a couple of weeks, but we got the 55 miler done, completed. It was 11 hours, 27 minutes, and 17 seconds. A lot longer than I wanted, but we have another 50 miler coming up in the next couple weeks. So we're going to be aiming for that sub 10 hour 50 miler again. Nonetheless, all my freaking camera equipment went down. My GoPro died. I made sure that I charged it, but then I woke up in the morning and it was dead. All my microphones I left at home. Didn't get a lot of footage of the actual race, only this one clip of me getting the gear ready and a quick intro on the morning of the race day. I pulled out my cell phone on a couple portions of the actual race, but like I said earlier, it was kind of rough. So I wanted to make sure that I was focusing on the task at hand and not keep whipping out my cell phone and trying to film myself while I was on those roads, just getting crushed by the inclines. So let's get into this intro and let's go. What is up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new video. We are in the hotel room. We are checked in and we're just laying everything out for the 55-mile ultramarathon that we're going to be running early in the morning. It starts at 4 a.m. so it's only about 5:30 and I'm trying to get to sleep around 6:30 so I get a good amount of sleep. If you can't tell, I have these bags under my eyes just because I only got about 4 hours of sleep today, so I need to make it up tonight or else I am going to be just a zombie out there. If you haven't noticed, also I don't have my camera equipment. I was running out. The only thing I really grabbed was the GoPro, and I'm using my cell phone, so the audio is probably going to be a little bit funky, but I'll try to clean it up the best I can. So as I said, we are all checked in. I got my number, lucky number 7, on my bib. Dropped off the drop bags at the actual drop-off point, and we are just laying everything out as I was saying. So this is going to be the full kit that I'm going to be starting with tomorrow. I'll probably be starting with that windbreaker just because it might be a little bit cold seeing that it's so early in the morning. Have regular t-shirt. I have the short American shorts and then regular socks. I also am going to be rocking the Riveras, the Ultra Riveras. I've had really good luck on concrete with these shoes, so I'm just going to stick with them. I was running in the Torn 4s, but my last pair kind of busted out and there is no replacement for them. They're all sold out just because people love them so much. The vest we're going to be running with the Salomon Advanced Skin number 5. Did all my training runs in this vest. It's gonna serve me well. Got the regular runner's hat, the goofy runner's hat, of course, and then some glasses just because we're going to be in that exposed road and it's going to be shining. The race starts in the dark, so they require a headlamp. I'm going to be carrying the GoPro, and then I will also be having 4 bottles on me. So I sweat a lot. So I have to have 4 bottles on me for a period of about 2 hours between each aid station. So this one's going to have, the Salomon bottles are going to have Tailwind in them, and then these are going to be clean water. I'll also be supplementing some calories with the cleft blocks, and then I'll have some salt. But that's basically it. That's going to be the full kit that I'm going to be running with, or starting with tomorrow. Pretty much replenishing as I go with the drop bags. But I need to eat some stuff. I got some grocery sushi. It's a ritual before any big race. I eat some sushi. Gonna eat some sushi, drink some water, and try to get some sleep because I am absolutely wrecked. Let's wake up. We're gonna wake up at 1 a.m. and get out there. Let's go. This race really started at 4 a.m. It was super dark. I got there really early. I was probably like one of the first people just waiting at the start line in a dark parking lot. We got our bibs, we got everything all situated, and then it was off to the races.
5 seconds, everyone. And you're off. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you on Jeffrey.
In the beginning of the race, I felt my body wasn't firing. It wasn't turning on. The lack of sleep that I got for the first, or the leading up 48 hours of the race, I felt it in my body. So on Thursday, I got 4 hours of sleep. And on Friday, the night before the race, I got 3 hours of sleep. I had a perfect plan. I was like, I'm going to go to sleep, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and wake up fully rested, 8 hours of sleep, wake up at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock and make sure that my breakfast is fully digested and I'm ready to go. But I went to sleep at 7. That was perfect. Woke up at 8, of course, and then couldn't go back to sleep. I went back to sleep probably around like 11 or 12 and then got that 1 or 2 hours of extra sleep. And I was just completely wiped out. I felt pretty shitty waking up, and then leading up to the race, I got amped up and I was like, oh, I feel fine. But once I started getting those miles in, especially once that adrenaline dropped around like mile 5, mile 10, that's when I really felt that lack of sleep. But there was the fast pack, about 10 people, then there was me, and then there's the middle pack, and then there was the slower pack at the back. So everywhere I looked, there was just bobbing lights just bobbing down the trail, which was pretty cool with my delirious mind with only 3 hours of sleep. It was a pretty trippy or cool experience just seeing all these people. It was about 45 people total to 50 people total. It was pretty cool seeing everybody going down for the same mission or the same goal, and that's just completing the actual race. So I really got caught up in that hype. I really got caught up in that feeling, or the visual aspect of actually running at night. And that is another thing about this next 50 miler, is most of it's at night. And for some reason, I do not like to control my pace at night. I get like super tunnel visioned at night, and I just put my head down or up into the sky, and I just run. Maybe it's something from the military. All of our operations in Afghanistan were at night. Most of our big training missions were at night. So I just feel comfortable really working hard at night. So I really want to push the pace anytime I'm running when it's really, really dark out. It's something weird. I don't know. I'm just going to have to focus a lot on my watch and my heart rate, and that will really help me draw back when it's super dark out. We got to the first aid station. It was still dark out. Refilled my waters. I was running with those 4 bottles of water. And that is another thing that was kind of annoying. When you're running with 4 bottles of water, you have to unscrew every single bottle. And that takes up a lot of time and frustration, especially if you're all sweaty or you're kind of delirious. It's something small, but you have to realize that you have to unscrew every single bottle and then put in your Tailwind and then unscrew it. So it takes up a lot of time that I really wasn't expecting. One thing that I'm going to probably go back to is having 2 bottles of Tailwind and then a 1 liter pack of just clean water in my pack, in my running vest. So I'll probably go back to this. It distributes the weight a little bit better. Having those 4 bottles all on front, it kind of sloshed around a little bit too much, or a little bit too much for my liking. It worked for that race pretty well, but I like the weight a little bit more distributed. So my nutrition was perfect. It felt perfect. I felt like I had enough water, almost too much water. Every 45 minutes or every 30 minutes to 45 minutes, I was taking in those cleft blocks. And then at every aid station, I was eating a Stinger waffle. So I had a lot of calories coming in, and I had the hydration to move everything through, make sure that I was properly hydrated. So for this race, I felt perfectly satiated, or properly, my nutrition was on the spot. This is probably the first race where I felt like I actually did the nutrition plan properly, and it really helped. The only thing that was kind of holding me back was that sleep deprivation, or that actual fatigue. So after the first aid station, we hit the roads again, and we were running up to another small summit. And I probably should have done a better map recon of this first summit, because I wasn't expecting that it was so freaking steep. It's a smaller hill. I think it was around like 500 to 800 feet of elevation gain, but I just wasn't expecting it. So we kind of went off the road right into this incline dirt trail, kind of a single track, double track trail, and we just went straight up, hit the summit of that finally, and then ran right down. My body was still so tired, and then it was basically 30 miles, 30 to 40 more miles of just road. And that's where I really started feeling it. I mean, we were about 10 to 15 miles into the race. My body still hasn't turned on, and the fatigue started to hit me. And we had about 30 miles left of just gradual inclines on the road, really slow, long, gradual inclines that just absolutely just sap away all your energy. I wasn't really doing much training on those slow, gradual pavement inclines, morely mountain trails and really sharp incline trails doing hill repeats. So I don't think my body, or I didn't have the experience or technical expertise to actually be running that efficiently. But yeah, that's basically the story for the first, 40 miles on these roads. It was just slow grinding up, heart rate spiking, me going, oh, what the heck? Why didn't I train this? And then freaking trying to make up the time going down, heart rate spiking because I'm trying to make up time, and then hitting another incline, and me just trying to be super freaking stubborn and staying at a certain pace, paying for it, and then trying to recover myself. And it's all because I'm a stubborn asshole, because I wanted to try to go a little bit faster, and I should have just been watching my heart rate, watching my perceived effort, and I didn't. I paid for it. So it wasn't until maybe 30 miles in, 35 miles in, the last 10 miles, I really drew back. I really pushed my pace back, really watched my heart rate, so then I could try to get ready for the actual portion of the race where we're summiting up that mountain, summiting up Monadnock. So I really pushed back, dropped my heart rate probably to, maximum 155, and stayed around 145 and 155 for the last 10 miles on the road. And I felt my body starting to, recover, pick back up, feel a little bit fresher. On Strava, my pace really didn't even suffer that much. It was averaging about, 11 to 12 minute mile per pace to, 12 to 13 minute mile per pace. So, if I would have stuck with that heart rate, I think I would have just ran faster the entire freaking race. But I blew out the first 5 to 10 miles, had to try to recover, went into a deficit of fatigue, and then just suffered for the next 20 miles until I fucking, pushed myself out of this stupid thought process of just trying to grind through this stupid pace that I was setting on myself. So back down, got to the trailhead, and that's when my body freaking woke up. I don't know if it was just, the end, it was the last 10 miles. I don't know if it was like, more adrenaline pumping, but it really felt like my body started to wake up. I changed my shoes at the aid station and I was off. I was probably at 25th place, maybe 25th place. And, basically the entire time I was running on the road, people were passing me left and right. People were passing me. I got to that trailhead and I just took off. This is where I've been doing most of my training, on these trails, on these inclines, and it felt like my body was completely fresh. And I just started moving down the trail. And even in that first 2 miles, I started picking people off, started passing everybody, and it seemed like the sun just baked everybody. They put all their effort in these in the road miles, like I did, and they were suffering on this actual trail. My one thought was, just don't stop. You can take a break at the summit, you can walk, you can crawl, you can do whatever, just don't stop. Recover your heart rate, keep moving, and that's what I made sure I did. Even on the really tough incline, there's like these rock walls or rock stairs. I just made sure that I was putting one foot in front of the other, breathing in, making sure I was drinking water because the sun was out and baking us all, and just kept moving. Got to the summit. It was completely packed of people, other hikers, other day hikers and everything like that. And we were having trouble actually finding the proper trail to go on. There was like 2 or 3 other runners up there with me trying to figure it out. And we asked one of the guys and they're like, oh, it's over there. But over there's 3 trails that like kind of branch off. So finally found it, waved down the other trail runners or the other racers with me, waved them down, and then made my way down the back half of the mountain. And I passed, quite a few people on that downhill. But going downhill on these really steep mountain trails, it's deceptively hard or punishing on your body, on your joints, on your muscles. Your body is always, you're always trying to subconsciously brake so you don't fall and tumble down the mountain. So if you don't do training on this specific part of the mountain, you're going to be moving really slow. I've done this mountain or other trails on this mountain, and most of my training, or at least half my training, are on these trails that have really steep inclines like this. So I really kept moving quite fast. I passed quite a few other runners on that downhill part, and then I only had about 2 miles left, and I was like, okay, time to blow out. I have all this extra energy because my body finally woke up, and it's time to blow out. So I hit the bottom of the mountain and I just took off. I wanted to make sure that all these people that I finally were able to pass weren't gonna catch up to me. So I just took off. I went down this dirt road that we were supposed to run on. The last portion, it's probably like a mile and a half. It was just leaves, just a bunch of leaves and roots and rocks. So moving on it is really slow just because those leaves slip off everything. So I was trying to run as fast as I can on this last mile. I passed one other person. He had awesome shorts. They're like running shorts, but they look like jean shorts, and they're dope as fuck. So had to give him a shout out for that. I was about half a mile away, and I twisted my ankle. I fell and twisted my ankle half a mile away. Made it through this whole freaking 55-mile ultramarathon, half a mile away, twisted my ankle, heard a pop. I just kind of sat there and I was like, you motherfucker. Stood up, did the little stomped it out. I don't know if any of you have ever done this. In Afghanistan, they have these berms that they build. So when you're walking, especially in the winter, you're just always slipping, always twisting your ankle. So one thing that I picked up from that is basically if you twist your ankle, you just stomp it out. Don't do that. It's probably the worst possible advice, but I just kind of stomp it out, get the blood flowing to that actual general location, and then just keep running. So I just kept running. Ankle was a little tweaked, but I just kept running. Got to the very, very end. There was a couple little kids that were just standing there waiting for runners to come in, and they would ring a bell at the end of the actual race, and they were running to the bell, and I was like, I'll race you, and I started sprinting, and I beat her. I beat a 10-year-old girl running to the cowbell at the end of the race. So I won 2 races that day. But yeah, that was basically end of the race. We got our placard, we got our race bib, shook the race director's hand, signed the sign that they go from year to year, and it was off. We were done. I drank a Red Bull. I drank my recovery Red Bull. For some reason, I think that's proper recovery nutrition is drinking a Red Bull. And we picked up my car. I had to drive my car about an hour, 2 hours back to my home. Driving a manual after an ultramarathon really, really freaking sucks. Just putting that pressure onto your clutch is quite annoying. My wife and the babies were with me, so we stopped at a park because they were sitting in the car for so long. Stopped at a park, tried to chase them around the park so they could get some energy done, and we ate Wendy's. So my post-race, and we only ate Wendy's because that was really the only thing that was accessible. So my post-race recovery meal was a Red Bull, and a Wendy's burger and French fries. That is not that is not that is not recommended. You know, I try to take in a little bit quality or better quality food, especially post race, just because your body's so hungry for nutrition or nutrients, and trying to get all those vitamins back, trying to get all that protein back. You know, if it's carried in a healthier package, you, or at least I, tend to recover a lot better. But had to get some food in. Something is better than nothing. So got some food in and got back home. There's a lot of things that I learned from this race. One thing is going to be the nutrition race, not the post-nutrition race, but during the race nutrition. So I'm definitely going to stay with the 4 bottles, or, you know, transition back to the 4 bottles and a 1 liter clean water bladder. And then the cleft blocks, and supplementing at the aid stations with the Stinger waffles or whatever is actually at those aid stations. So number 1 is definitely staying with my nutrition plan, because that was probably the best fueled race that I've ever had, you know, in my ultra marathon running, you know, history. Number 2 is, and I was talking about this the entire lead up to this race, was specificity of actual training. So I'm 100% going to have to be training on those gradual inclines more. I have to learn how to, or get more experience on, you know, having a stable pace, or, you know, a regular pace just running up and maintaining my heart rate. I think I was leaning forward a little bit too much, and it was really smoking my hip flexors. So I'm going to have to work on the technique of actually running up these gradual inclines. Number 3 is having, or building the confidence, or getting more confidence at this actual distance. So 50K to 55 miler, 100 miler, I felt amazing at the end of this. You know, at the last 10 miles, I felt really good. I recovered really well. I was almost back to normal in like a week and a half, started running again that week. So my body is getting more and more bulletproof in regards to these ultra length distances. Now, I was, you know, my hip flexors and my knees were a little beat up, but it's to be expected. So yeah, that's it. It was 11 hours, 27 minutes, and 17 seconds. 9th place overall, average pace of 13 minutes and 9 seconds. Elevation gain of 6,700 feet. So make sure that you like and subscribe. Follow me on my journey into ultramarathon, or trying to actually find my place in ultramarathon running. I got another 50 miler in a couple weeks that I'm going to make sure that I get a little bit more footage. It is mainly at night, so there's not much footage I can get, but I'll try to get as much as I can. I got a 24-hour race going up and down the same mountain trail, 1,000 feet of elevation gain each time up and down. Whoever gets the most up and downs in 24 hours wins. So that's in about a month and a half. And then I got a 100 miler that I'm going to be running also probably later in the year. So I got a lot more races, a lot more training. If you want to follow, if you want some motivation, if you want some tips, if you want to just hang out with some homies, follow, like, subscribe, get out there, enjoy some nature, get out there, crush it, push yourself. It might not be ultra running, it might not be fitness. As long as you're pushing yourself, working towards your passion, that's all that matters. Get out there, crush it, and become an average savage. Let's go!